your name comes with two guarantees. One, it'll never be on any gimmicky souvenir or Coke bottle. And two, it'll be butchered by every substitute teacher. Actually, forget the substitute teachers, it'll just be butchered by everyone. I remember peering up through my lavender glasses at my kindergarten teacher. Note, I was a stickler at the time, so my glasses had to be called lavender. They could not be called lilac or purple. Nope, they were lavender. She looked down at me and asked, "What's your name?" I peered up at her and said, "Antara." She looked at me, and she looked at me before she said, "Oh, Antara." Too shy to correct her, I simply nodded my head. That's my name. But why didn't I say anything? Mind you, I ended up going by the wrong pronunciation of my name for 9 years. You heard that right. From kindergarten all the way till 8th grade, 9 years of allowing people to pronounce my name incorrectly. And yet 9 years of correcting people to say that my glasses were the right shade of lavender. Was I too afraid to say something? No. Did I not care? No, I cared. Then why? My name, Antara, seemed so hard compared to the other seemingly easy names. There was a part of me that wanted to fit in, wanted my name to roll off the tongue with ease. And so as my name was a misfit, every effort was made to remove the miss part. And this marked the beginning of my code switching. According to Merriam-Webster, code switching is the act of, in fact, bringing in different dialects and languages, mixing them together in one conversation. But for me, this goes way beyond basic linguistics. Not so much beyond, as in deeper. Rather, it's a bigger phenomenon than just changing pronunciations or accents. It's sociolinguistics, or the process of changing one's language, actions, behavior, appearance to put on a specific identity. If you go to the root of it, it's changing your social and cultural values to fit in. And this desire to fit in leads us to forget our own identities. I mean, I went by the wrong pronunciation for 9 years of my life. I'm like a chameleon, shifting from group to group, pronunciation to pronunciation. I often code switch so much that I don't understand a single word of what I'm saying. I'm Antara. For me, that was an attempt to fit in and be all-American, my long-standing name at UpperStClair. Yet if you catch me talking to my grandpa or anyone from South India, my name mutates to Antara, the South Indian pronunciation of my name. But then again, if you catch me talking to my singing and dancing Indian teachers, my name mutates once again to Antara, the more East Indian name of my pronunciation of Antara. Actually pronounced Antara. And if you look at the meaning in Sanskrit, this means the second verse of an Indian classical song. So why did my personal song get lost? Why did my personal identity get lost with it? Antara, Antara, Andara, Antara, will the real Antara please stand up? And she is. She's standing right here before you today on this stage. Meet Antara, the now non-code switcher. Now, I've heard that people judge you by the first 10 words that come out of your mouth. So shouldn't these 10 words be true and authentic to yourself? What's the benefit of altering your social and cultural values, the way you pronounce certain words to fit in? NPR, or National Public Radio, created a blog back in 2013 where they collected personal stories and narratives. And through these personal stories and narratives, they collected reasons as to why people code switch. A key reason that came up as to why people code switch daily was the simple desire to fit in. The simple human desire to fit in. Why people changed the way they said their name, changed the way they spoke to fit in. In addition to this, they found another key reason that people code switch was to garner acceptance and gain status within their society. They found numerous stories of people working in the service industries who actually put on a southern accent, y'all, to get better tips and gain more sympathetic customers. I mean, yins get that, right? But the thing is, changing one's pronunciation, changing one's dialect, it reveals this bigger phenomenon of changing our cultural and social values to fit in. But in this process, not only do we lose our dialect or language, we lose what makes us inherently, authentically ourselves. 7.7 billion. Hit the pause button for a second and think about that. 7.7 billion people on this earth today. We all go around our day-to-day lives living through a different lens, a different perspective. In fact, we experience this the exact same day differently. 7.7 billion different perspectives. But imagine for a second if we all started to behave the same way, act the same way, speak the same way. What if all 7.7 billion people became the same cookie-cutter person? Then I pose the question, where is the diversity? Where is the individuality? In addition to code switching, many people go and adopt this practice of changing their foreign name to a name that supposedly enables them to fit in within their society. My own Sithinder uncle became Stan in London. My cousin Joseph became Yusuf in Dubai. Here in America, The Economist reported that changing a name from what is considered a purely foreign name to one that is more common and Americanized is linked to a 14% increase in earnings. A 14% increase in earnings. And if we examine the influx of immigrants, we can see that by 1930, 1/3 of immigrants and naturalizing citizens who came into the country adopted a new name, which they perceived as more American, enabling them to fit in. But why? Why should I have to put on a Southern accent to gain more tips, change my name to be remembered in the corporate world, or pronounce my words differently to gain acceptance and status? In short, I shouldn't have to. There is pressure, 24/7, 365 days of the year, to be someone that you're just not. And if we think about the stereotypical social hierarchy of high school, they're the jocks, the geeks, the popular kids, and you're expected to fit yourself into a mold which doesn't fit you, expected to assort yourself into one group or another. And if you're not, you become part of this catch-all group called misfits. School is my life at the moment, but outside these auditorium doors, there are corporate, religious, ethnic, racial pressures forcing you to conform yourself, restrict yourself. And the problem lies where this code switching becomes code forcing. Power comes from not changing yourself to mutate and seemingly become more popular, but power lies in self-identity. It's a cliche, but you have to embrace who you are. If you're content with yourself, I assure you that others will be too. Code forcing isn't the ticket to popularity, rather being yourself is. How many of you today can spell Schwarzenegger? Exactly. It's a name that's difficult to spell and perhaps even harder to pronounce. Yet that didn't stop Arnold from becoming the world's biggest movie action star and later to be elected as governor of California. Now, you say tomato, I'll say tomato, and my uncle Satinder in London will say tomato. But the thing is, these pronunciations don't matter. We won't call the whole thing off. In the end, we'll just make a better marinara sauce. Thank you.